Hey there, hope you're doing well. Welcome to Snowpal Software Development and Architecture Podcast. In this podcast, we're going to take a quick look at one of Snowpal's APIs, the Classroom API. Uh, we offer a suite of APIs, and we've captured a lot of them in these videos, and we're going to do more of these to get into the details of each of these APIs. But in the first one, the idea is to skim the surface and let you know what the API is about, what value it brings to the table, and why you should actually integrate the API as opposed to having your backend teams rebuild and reinvent the wheel. The idea is to give you the luxury of having your backend teams, or not even having a backend team if you don't have one, but if you do have one, allowing you the luxury to use your backend teams to solving your core customer problems, and more importantly, not have them reinvent the wheel by rebuilding what's already out there, perhaps more robust than you might ever need. But still, it's going to save you a lot of time, risk, effort, and money by integrating our APIs. So without further ado, let's actually take a quick look at this API, the Classroom API. I'm going to share my screen. You can go to classroom-api.snowpal.com to check out the endpoints. But we have one of the products we have is a web application. You can go to snowpal.com or download our mobile app and download the mobile app from the app and Play stores. I'm going to show you how we use some of these endpoints from the Classroom API. I'm not going to go to the production version just so I cannot share production data, as you can imagine. So I have the same app running locally. We have something called a student key. So you can actually go create, let's say, a teacher and student key, which is a classroom key, so to speak. So I'm going to say math course. If I were a teacher, again, this is just an example of us using our APIs to represent it and providing a certain piece of functionality. Now, when you use it and build your React apps or Angular or Flutter app, whether it's web or mobile or a microservice, it's going to surely look very different because you're solving a different problem, or maybe the same type of problem differently. But this should hopefully serve as an example. Now, when you go there, I can now go create a block called, I said math. Again, this is dev data that I'm creating right here, so just take that with a grain of salt. Science 101. Maybe this should actually now be renamed. So it's not a math course, it's just courses or something like that. Because I have multiple courses, science and math, and I'm going to go to math and I'm going to pods. I'm going to say quiz 1. And maybe assignment 1A. I mean, you'll have better names in the real world, but it's all right. Let's just go with what we have here. Okay, now I'm going to actually share this with a couple of dev users. I'm going to make one of them a student, and then maybe I'll make another one a teacher. We have an ECL API that you should check out to support this. You don't have to implement any of the security yourself. We have all of this available, to solve, cater to a number of your potential requirements. Okay, now that we have a student, I can go into a block and I can just say, and I pick a grading scale, grades A to F, and then I can go to the pod. I'll also pick the exact same grading scale. Now, if I go back here, I see students. I see Parag as a student because I added that person as a student. Now, I can add assignments, publish grades, and do the whole 9 yards. We'll not get into the details of this here, but this is a piece of functionality that we support. If you're a tutor or a teacher, you're teaching a few students. If you're at Starbucks, teaching calculus to a group of students, you can, how do you track those students? How do you track how they are learning? Or you could be in middle school or high school in a larger organization. If you want something simple and easy to use both on the web and mobile, you should certainly consider using our product, our platform. Or that's our web and mobile application. But the reason I showed that to you is all of this has been built using endpoints that we've made available here. Now, this Classroom API has a lot of other functionality. You can build the entire system using it, but we're going to keep our focus only to what's uniquely specific to this this API, because some of the other items, signing up and creating content, it's relatively generic. I'll talk about it probably in a different video, but in this, let's just talk classroom and teachers. Classroom students and teachers. So we won't go into these endpoints, but these endpoints let you create custom scales to grade your students, collaborate with other teachers, create projects and assignments, and assign grades, publish grades to students, compare student performances through charts, compare your class performance, and the whole 9 yards essentially. We actually have support for most of it on our existing app, but it'll take, it's going to take time for me to create all of this content and show that to you. And that's not the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video is to socialize API and what the API actually, how powerful it is, and what all it actually will let you do. So let's just, just so we don't forget, let's go here and capture some of this like we've done Classroom API. At the highest level, it's basically teachers and then, and then students. Okay. Teachers can collaborate with other teachers. So take that as just collaboration. Actually, we can make this a solid arrow. Okay, now there can be, you create a class, you have a number of students, and you can assign, let's say, actually, let's do this first. What does the teacher do? The teacher creates assessments. Actually, before assessments, the teacher creates courses, create assessments, collaborate with other teachers. There's a number of things the teacher can do here, but let's just say that's good enough for now for what we're trying to document here. And this, wait, hang on. Actually, there's publish, actually assign, create custom grading scales, because it could be satisfactory, unsatisfactory, or it could be A, B, C, D, E, or it could be A minus, A plus, B minus, B plus, like we have it in the US. So it just depends on what your custom scales are going to look like. Given the different countries and different schooling systems, education boards do it differently. We have the ability to create custom scales, grading scales, and then you can assign grades, publish grades, so it makes it available to students. And now from a student standpoint, you can submit, see all your courses, submit assessments, whether it's projects, quizzes, whatnot, review grades, ask questions to your teachers. You can, again, teachers and students can message each other through our messaging endpoints. But that captures the high level gist of it. Now, if you go into the APIs and the endpoints, you'll see that you can do bulk assessments. You can compare, at least we should say review student performance is. So a single student performance across different assessments, or review class performances. So all students in a class, for instance, and this is presented, you can present this as a chat or a report or however you want to do it. So that's the idea behind this API and the endpoints. I showed you some example here in terms of functionality. You can, dig deeper and look into it, and we'll do more videos as well. You can go to developers.snowpal.com. If you're a product owner or product manager, this might be a good place for you to start socializing with our documentation before you go to Postman, or if you prefer to start with Postman like most developers do, that's fine as well. To subscribe to the API, you can go to aws.snowpal.com, go to Classroom API. 3 clicks later, you will have the API key and the product code, and you can pay by request or pay by subscription, monthly or annual, to start consuming this API. Now, We also provide SDKs, so you can actually go to classroom-sdk.snowpal.com. That's going to redirect you to package.go.dev because we have our SDKs available in Golang at this point, and we will be creating more this year in other languages to support other platforms as well. Last but not least, products.snowpal.com. And then if you go to our documentation, that's another variation to our documentation, our articles, our podcast is a single place you can subscribe to the newsletter to keep up to date with not just technologies that we use, but also technologies that we don't actually use at this point. And you can keep up to date with things happening in our ecosystem. Go to API, you can check out these articles here. Now, from a licensing, if you want to purchase the subscription through AWS Marketplace, you can do that. Or if you want us to provision these APIs in your infrastructure, we are happy to do that, whether it's AWS Market, whether it's on AWS or Google Cloud or Azure, that's completely all right too. Even other customers, the larger you are, you might say, you know what, I actually, there's a variation to the second one. You might say, hey, it's okay for it to be running in your infrastructure, but point to my database. Easily, very easily doable. The fourth variation is you're saying, hey, you know what, we like the functionality, but we don't want to actually use your infrastructure at all. We want complete control over proceedings, and we'll probably run it in our data center or our cloud infrastructure, but we just need a license that we want to purchase. That's totally fine. You can purchase the license and then the upgrade licenses, so you get the bug fixes, enhancements, and features. So how you kind of collaborate or partner, it's entirely up to you. We can even create a private offer on AWS Marketplace to make these APIs available to you. So take your pick based on what works best for you. If you're a smaller startup or a solopreneur, the easiest thing for you to do is just do it all self-serve and go get the API key and the product code and start integrating the APIs. So within the first hour or so, you'll actually be able to understand what these endpoints are, what the APIs, and how you can actually start building your functionality using those APIs. That's basically it for the Classroom API. Talk to you soon. Thanks.